All right, welcome back. This is December 27th. It is day 11 of the Run It Up challenge. I took a couple days off for the Christmas holiday, so you haven't missed much if you haven't seen anything in the last couple of days. What I need to catch you up on is in our last day of action, I think we won two of the 8 heads-up matches. We did not cash in the GPP. We had a final score of something like 244. It was a couple days ago. But anyway, we are right back at it tonight. There's another fairly large slate of games, 10 of them, I believe. And yeah, I'm ready to get back at it. So where we stand. So here is the spreadsheet with all the results in it. And where we currently stand is the bankroll is at $99.30, so essentially dead even. We are 31-19 in heads-up matches, and I think we're something like 4 out of 10 cashing in GPPs. So we're gonna do it. Get back at it tonight, and I'm looking forward to it. It's been a couple days since I've even set a lineup or really looked at anything, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, there are a couple of decent plays that I already have seen. Haven't finished the research completely yet, but I know there's a couple players that we will be targeting. So as far as tonight's games go, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep, 10 games on the schedule. A couple do have blowout potential, most notably the Golden State Minnesota game, which is a 17-point line. It's probably the biggest line since we've been doing this challenge, so that's a game that we'll probably stay away from. If we were to touch it, it would be guys like Maurice Spates, who he's going to play his 20 minutes, but he might pick up a handful of extra minutes if this is a blowout. He might play the fourth quarter, something like that. So he might be a guy to target. Probably have to take out Steph Curry as a viable option tonight, just because he's, what this line is saying to me is that he might not play the fourth quarter. So that's something to keep in mind. It is the highest total on the board, though, so I would like some exposure to it. Other than that, the Toronto Clippers game. Oh, you know what? Let me just check this real quick. We're doing the DraftKings. Yeah, we're doing the DraftKings 7 o'clock contest. So that 3:30 game is actually not included. So there's 9 games on the schedule. So my fault there. So the second biggest line is actually the Atlanta-Milwaukee game, which is only a 4.5-point spread. So we could have some exposure there. Interesting things to talk about in the Sacramento-New York game, because we're not sure if DeMarcus Cousins is going to play. We know for a fact that Amari Stoudemire is out. So that is, there could be some ramifications from those two players as well. Okay, but there is something that I just posted a video on. I think I posted it yesterday about how to find value plays and how not to miss guys that were clearly mispriced. And wouldn't you know it, there is another option today, or there's another guy today that I believe is mispriced. So if you spent the couple of minutes to just go through every player, or you plugged it into an Excel spreadsheet, you probably already know who I'm talking about. But if you didn't, I'm going to give it away for you right here, and it's TREY BURKE. TREY BURKE is a guy that has not been, he's been between 5,200 and 5,500 in every game in his last 10. And he puts up numbers in that range as far as fantasy points go. And for whatever reason today, he dropped to 3,000. So basically his salary gets cut in half, and he goes to the min price, and I believe this is in error. I don't have any reason to believe why he would drop as much as he did. He's healthy. He's going to be going up against the Sixers tonight, and he will probably be owned by everyone, including us. So same thing as Tony Parker from Christmas Day. TREY BURKE, I mean, really we only need, I mean, technically speaking, if he scores 18 fantasy points, that's a 6 times value, which is awesome. And if you look back here at his game logs, he's more than capable of getting you 18 points and can even get you mid-20s, and has gotten even in the 30s once in the last 10 games. So awesome play here. Great matchup. We will be playing Trey Burke. So that is a definite. There are a few more value plays that we will get into, but as usual, I will pause and we will come back and discuss the lineup together. But we will have $10 in play tonight, and it'll be in the form of a $2 GPP and 8 $1 heads up matches. So I will talk to you guys soon. I'm back to start constructing some lineups and talking about each position, and let's jump right into it. We'll start at the point guard position, and this is what I feel like for the last couple of nights, there have been a ton of point guards that I've wanted to roster. I've actually played 3 point guards a few times recently, and sometimes tonight there's basically 4 point guards I want to play. And obviously can't fit them all in between the point guard position, the guard position, and the utility position. But let's go through a couple of these guys, and you can make a call on your own as far as which ones you really want to play. Let's start with the valuable ones. Clearly, Trey Burke has to be in there. We talked about Trey Burke. He's 3,000. If he has his average game, which is, let's see, his average game this season is basically 24 points. So that's 8 times value if he has just his average game tonight. So he seems like a no-brainer guy that has to be plugged into the lineup. We kind of talked about that earlier in the first part. Secondly, moving our way up in price, Tony Wroten is a guy that was playing really well at the start of the season. Then he got hurt and his minutes dropped, and now he's kind of coming back and producing again, and he's one of the main scoring options for the Sixers. But in that time frame, his salary dropped all the way down to $4,300. So at least in the last 10, he was up to $5,600. I think he was actually a little higher than that previously, but he's a guy that can just fill it up, and he's getting a decent number of minutes lately. You see in the last 4 games, 30 minutes, 24 minutes, 31, and 27. And he's a guy who's not afraid to shoot the ball. He's got a little bit of swaggy P in him, and he's not afraid to just jack it up, which is good for fantasy owners. So Tony Wroten makes a really solid play here. And, without even, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about a million different things here. Utah is, I believe, in the bottom third of defensive efficiency, so there should be a ton of opportunity for Wroten in this game. I think he's going to be difficult to stop. He played really well last night. I think he can back it up again tonight. His price is just really, really good, or too good to pass up. So he's an option. I don't want to plug him in because I said there's at least 4 point guards that I would love to start tonight. But Tony Wroten is definitely an option for your lineups this evening. Moving along, I'll actually go over the point guard here. Moving along, just touching on these guys, or I'm sorry, working our way up from the bottom. So here was Wroten. None of these other guys are really jumping out at me. Marcus Smart, who's been playing the majority of the minutes since Rondo left, there's too much variance in Marcus Smart. I would prefer to find somebody with a little higher floor. Calderon is just a pure shooter. He can fill it up too, but I'm looking for, okay. So look at this. This is we're looking at Derrick Rose, and Derrick Rose is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th most expensive point guard. He's only $6,900. Now I've got to credit it's Project Roto, projectroto.com. I've got to credit them for this little blurb that they have here. Okay, so when Derrick Rose is on the floor, he's at 31.7% usage rate, and he scores 21 points per game at home and 29 points per game with 1 day of rest. And he plays more minutes at home than he does on the road. All of those all those factors are in play tonight. So in more than 1 day of rest, he's better at home than he is on the road, and he gets a semi-decent matchup against the Pelicans. So he's really priced at $6,900, which means we're looking for 35 or more points from him, which he's done basically the last 4 games. And he's got an upside in the 40s. This is a really interesting play because you get a guy who has a ceiling as high as some of the highest in the league, and he's only 6,900, and he's been really solid lately. And I think he kind of gets a bad rap because with the injuries and some of the things he says to the media, I think he kind of gets a bad rap. But the numbers really don't lie here, and he's having a really good stretch over the last even 10 games, and he's playing a lot of minutes, so he's a guy that I'm ready to trust again. And I that this is probably the first time we've talked about him um in this series, but I'm ready to trust Derrick Rose again, and I think he's worth a plug into the lineup. So he would have to fill in the guard position. And then finally, to me, the premier point guard of the evening is John Wall. We mentioned that as much as we love Steph Curry, he is just too likely to not play the entire game. It's a 17-point line. It screams blowout. Yeah, he might score a ton of points in 3 quarters, but it's a little risky for me. So John Wall is actually my premier point guard of the night. Now, if you followed the series, you know that his home and road splits he's a lot better at home, so he's playing at home tonight. He has a history of killing the Celtics, where I think he's averaging like a double double and almost a triple double in like the last handful of games against Boston. So it's just a really plus matchup. He's at home. I don't think he's played since Christmas Day, so he had the day off. This is just a great matchup, a great spot. I love John Wall here. So I'm not gonna plug him in. Where you can decide out of those 4 point guards which one is the right one for you. But they're all super solid options. I think Trey Burke's probably the only one that has to be in there, and then you can kind of plug and play with the other 3 guys. Okay. So let's go along to shooting guard here, which I think is actually a very shallow position tonight. Outside of Jimmy Butler, who is just a fantasy points machine. Of course, we remember we rostered him the night that he had 22, his worst night in a while. Outside of Jimmy Butler, there's not a lot of great plays here. In my opinion, I don't love Dwayne Wade. I think this is a spot for a letdown game. Yeah, he is the entire offense, but there's something that jumps out at me as this could be a letdown game for Wade. Klay Thompson again is in a situation where a blowout may occur. Lance Stevenson is out. Tim Hardaway's price has now gotten too high for what he's been doing. I mean, he would need to score 30 points tonight, and he's done that just twice in the last 10, and that would just be to hit 5 times value. 6, he probably won't become close to touching 6. I just think that's his price has inflated too much. Where I like it this evening is the Greek Freak is a decent play. I think I read that he is the only guy since Jabari Parker went down. He's the only guy on the team who's played at least 30 minutes in each game. So he has the opportunity there. And he can fill it up in all different ways. He can grab boards. He's long enough to get a ton of steals, and he can score points. So I think the Greek Freak is a decent play. We would need 25 points out of him, which he's done basically 6 or 7 times in the last 10, and he has an upside of about 40. So I like him a lot, but I will probably go cheaper. So if you're not gonna go with Wall, you could play the Greek Freak. Okay, if you want to squeeze Wall in, you probably can't play him because there is a value option at shooting guard, which is Tony Allen. And let's see where he's at. I think he's 30. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. They have him listed at small forward. Sorry. Let's we'll stick with shooting guard here, and we'll plug the Greek Freak in. And we'll go to Tony Allen, who is listed as on FanDuel, I believe he's a shooting guard. On DraftKings, he is a small forward. Here he is. Okay, so as far as small forwards go, Tony Allen I think is a really solid play. Um, his first game back was from injury, was last night, and he played 26 minutes, which was encouraging. Didn't really do anything too crazy. 10 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, but that's good enough for 28 points. You can see that when he's gotten the opportunity, when he's played over 25 minutes, he's capable of putting up 25, 26 fantasy points, which is significantly more than what we would need from him tonight. So basically, if he scored 24 points, we'd be very happy, which I think is definitely viable against Miami, who you know is not great at defending the forward position, and also this is I really only like Tony Allen if Zach Randolph is out as well, which last time I checked, it wasn't promising that he was going to play. Let's see if there's anything definitive has been made. Um, Doubtful for Saturday's game, so that's as of right now. So I think Tony Allen is a really good value play to plug in at the small forward position. Additionally, Jared Dudley is another guy that I like too. Right here, same price at 3,700. Uh, so Atlanta and Milwaukee are playing back to back home and home series here. So last night against Atlanta, he went for 41 fantasy points. He had 24 points. He was basically unstoppable, 10 for 10 from the field. No one could put a body on him. So he's another guy that I really like at the position. Um, so pick and choose between those two guys. Dudley's upside is a little higher. His floor is a little bit lower, but pick and choose there. I think they're both really good plays. We'll plug Dudley in just for the purpose of this video. Okay. Power forward, really interesting play. The narrative going around tonight is rostering Anthony Davis because he's a Chicago boy and this is his first game that he's going to be playing in Chicago. He's going to have a ton of family and friends there. That's the narrative. I don't like to bet against Anthony Davis. He's probably my favorite player in the league, but the price is just so expensive at 11,600. It's really hard. It's really hard to roster him. I don't put too much stock in the old. He's playing in Chicago for the first time. I don't really buy into that all that much. So Anthony Davis is a guy that I'll probably avoid. Derek Favors is also the guy who I think will be highly owned because he gets a plus matchup in Philadelphia, and he's only 7,600. But if you look at his game logs, the guy's floor is just too low for me personally. 3 out of the last 4 he's had in the mid-20s, and then he had the game where I think he was in foul trouble in Miami, or it was a blowout or something like that, and he only played 10 minutes. I mean, he's going to need 35 plus fantasy points to be relevant for us, and he's done that twice in the last 8 games. I just don't feel this. If you follow the series, I'm looking for higher floor guys, and Derek Favors doesn't necessarily fit that mold. I think he will be highly owned though. Looking down the list here as far as some cheaper options go, Maurice Spates he got the start last night. I'm sorry, Christmas Day. He got the start, but he still only played 22 minutes. He's a little riskier, but I think he could pick up some extra minutes if this game is a blowout, but I don't love him. Where I would probably go is Pau Gasol. So he's 8,900. The guy is just, a 35, 40-point freak. He's coming off a day off, which is always good for older guys like Pau. And according to TeamRankings.com, the Pelicans give up something like the 3rd most points in the paint in the league. So even though Anthony Davis is in there, a lot of scoring comes from in the paint if you're playing against the Pelicans, and Pau fits that mold perfectly. So he's at home, he's coming off a day's rest, and we're looking for 45 points out of him. 45 to 50, which I think he is doable. If he hit 40, you'd be pretty happy. So yeah, I think Powell is the play tonight. Power forward is not an exceptionally pretty position. Okay, moving right along to center. Cousins is questionable. He would be a great play. Let's see. They have him probable as tonight for tonight against the Knicks. This is a great matchup. It's an absolute great matchup. DeMarcus might have burned you last night because he didn't play, but if you can stomach it and you can get him in the lineup, DeMarcus Cousins appears to be. I mean, he's clearly the best matchup. The Knicks are just gonna get decimated inside, I think, and DeMarcus Cousins is gonna be the guy to do it, especially with Amari Stoudemire out there. I can't even imagine who is going to stand up to DeMarcus Cousins. We really can't afford it. I mean, we could, but let's go a different route. I'll give you a couple options here. Gorgie Dang is really coming into his own lately, and look at these numbers as of late. So he's only 7,000 and super high upside. He's going for 46 and 51 the last two nights. Two double doubles. I mean, this is what you call filling up the box sheet here. And he just absolutely stuffs it. And I really like him this evening. But I also believe that with Chris Bosh out, the other Gasol brother, we could roster both Gasols. Marc Gasol is the premier center play tonight. Yeah, this is just too good. Marc Gasol has just, again, been doing everything for the Grizzlies. If Zach Randolph is out, which I expect him to be, Marc Gasol is a monster play, and there's nobody in Miami to stop him. So let's plug in both Gasol brothers. And now we've got a forward and a utility left. So we could go, let's look here. If we wanted to fit another premier guy in, we couldn't get Wall in because we wouldn't have enough left. Basically, if we wanted to do Tony Allen, that would leave us with 9,100. We could get Al Jefferson in. Just looking at his last 10 here. Only played 22 minutes last night. Just reading the analysis, looks like he was playing through a groin injury. Only scored 4 points in 22 minutes. Floor is pretty low. Floor is pretty low. There's a lot of question marks around him there. See, this is where it comes down to. Now I don't love a lot of these guys here, where I might, like, if I could get John Wall in, I would have went for value at the forward position. But now that I can, I'm thinking we can afford to spend a little more. Andrew Wiggins could be a nice play tonight. Let's just, for the sake of the video, plug in. Let's plug in Wiggins. 2 really good games in a row for him. Scoring really well. That could continue tonight in a game with a really high total. So it's not ridiculous to think that Andrew Wiggins can score, 25 points in a blowout loss tonight. So Andrew Wiggins would be interesting. If we did that, we would have 71 left at the utility position, and the top play would probably be, I like Gortat a lot. Boston gives up a lot of points in the paint, and Gortat's just a guy who's going to rip boards. He's kind of like what you're looking for is like a 12 and 10 game from him, some type of double-double like that. I've read a lot of people would be interested in getting Cantor. Gorgie would probably be my guy, though. He's really coming into his own. He's playing really well. So if we plugged him in, we would have 2 Timberwolves, 2 Bucks, 2 Bulls, the Gasol brothers, and Trey Burke. So this is not a bad lineup. I'll probably tinker with it, but I think that's was a good thing to go through each position and kind of talk about a couple options. So that gives you guys a couple options to kind of take that short list and make your own lineups. But I will tweet out the final lineup. It is at RickRunGood on Twitter. I'll tweet it out sometime before game time. As you can see, we only have an hour and 9 minutes till tip off here. So keep an eye out for it. I'll get this video uploaded ASAP. And good luck tonight. Talk to you guys soon.